right? Not just one, not just two, but three answers. So I asked each and every one of you, I said to you, is there an area of your life, and I know there's at least one for all of you, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You are successful to some degree. You've obviously outdone your parents to some degree in some area. Yes, I know relationships are a challenge because you didn't have the proper education, you didn't have the proper support, but there is a lot that you can say that I have learned or achieved or am successful. I've outdone my mother, I've outdone people I know. And so let's look at these examples, right? Learning to drive a car. Coming from a country where public transport is, available, and coming to a country where you realize that there's going to be benefit to learn to drive a car, and being a person who never thought in your life you'll ever drive a car, never thought in your life you'll ever want to drive a car, and coming to a situation where you realize it's going to be of great benefit to learn to drive a car, and to go through it and feeling like I'll never do it, the self-doubt, but the necessity of it, the urgency of it, the belief there, the desire there. And look, she's a motorist who has picked me up from the airport many times and dropped me off at the airport many times, and she drives very well, I can attest to it, and she drives a big car, a Volvo, a big, and she drives well, so that's an example, right? There's a reason why I'm asking you to look at this, because there's a pattern, there's something that happens there, there's a progression. So even if it's language, she grew up in a country speaking one language, she never thought she was going to end up in another country with a necessity to speak another language. But look, she had belief and she had necessity, and she was willing to try and willing to apply and willing to do what it took, you see. And she speaks very good English as far as I'm concerned, because I don't see any problem with Antonia's English. I put her on the Attract Soulful Love chat, lives. I have no issue with her English. I don't see any issue, right? So I'm happy. I can communicate with her and communicate very well, So, like, even coming to this country and then looking for a job and then going into learning about computers and all that sort of thing. So what does it tell us about somebody who becomes successful in all three of these? And with the challenge that she had, she was teachable. If she wasn't teachable, she wouldn't have become the motorist. She wouldn't have become the English speaker. She wouldn't have become the computer literate person she is. She's teachable. She went to the driving school. She listened. Who did she listen to? She went to the driving school. She went to the library to get books. She did self-study. You get what I mean? She went to sources who could assist her. She was willing to support change. She was willing to become. She was willing to go through learning things, taking responsibility for her own learning, chart her way forward, make progress, 2 steps front, 1 step back, fail, embarrass herself, put herself out there, and eventually fail forward to the point where she is today. These are the elements of somebody who's going to be successful. You get what I mean? And if she applied it in that area, then she would obviously apply it in any area that she deemed necessary for her to become. It's necessary for her. So one area was soulful love. And she used my support. Again, she listened to me. Who do you listen to? And then she put it into practice. She went forward. She was prepared to become different. She developed herself that way. And now she has Ivan, and this is the most satisfying relationship she's ever been in, the most valuable to her relationship she's ever been in. You get what I mean? So I'm showing you that if you do it in one area of your life or in other areas of your life, there's a formula. And you can also do it in this area of your life when it comes to prosperity, particularly spousal satisfaction. She didn't remain the same and have a story. Oh, South Africa, I'm a victim. They only speak English here. I can't speak a language. Let me become, on the streets. She said, I'm going to get a job, grow my children up, and she's done a great job, with her work, and worked at the airlines and had a high position and led the way. And, she's done a great job with her children and all that sort of thing. She owns her own businesses. She has her own home. What does that tell you? These are the elements of success. She was prepared. She was teachable. You hear me speak about teachability. She didn't stop being teachable until she got what she wanted. A lot of people stop being teachable before they get what they want, and then they don't learn beyond, and they don't support development. So are you all getting the elements of what it means to become successful in any area of your life? Look at your own life and look at what the elements are. And if you want to become successful in a prosperity consciousness, or you want to become successful when it comes to spousal satisfaction, these elements must be applied there too. You didn't remain the same and wish that the world was different. And you didn't hope and wish. You went out there and you got the education and you put into practice and you failed and you practiced more and you got it. You took time until you practiced conscious competency. You practice, you become different, and suddenly you're a different person and you're in a different reality. So this is that student identity that I'm talking about. Even me, in the areas of my life that I am not the same man that I am, it's because of the student identity. This is teachability. You get what I mean? Like she went to the places where she could get teaching. She put herself where somebody can support her. You are putting yourself here with me where I'm giving you support. That's very important. If you don't show up here, if you don't take, that means the student in you is not teachable. You get what I mean? So I can check to see who's on the chat, who's not on the chat, who's here. And then I can see who's teachable and who's going to get it. You get what I mean? Those who come here and access this information, who comes for the replays, who comes for the 90-minute lives, who asks questions, who's getting involved in this, who participates. When I ask for sharing, when I say, can you tell me who gets it, then I know who is likely to succeed, because the student identity is there. If you have a strong student identity with the elements of success there, you'll be good in any area of your life. You'll be successful in any area of your life that requires development. Basically, you'll be successful in areas of your life that you want to be successful in, or in life generally, because you have supported development. Now look at Antonio's amazing story. Amazing, right? So inspiring. Amazing. Mine too is amazing too, from who I was to where I am. Even now, I'm telling you, I spent 25 years learning, growing, and developing. It's time for me to share this with the world. I have that ambition for me. Now I have to become a guy. I couldn't talk about money. I never wanted to. Now I have to learn. For the past 5 years, I've been learning about how to do online business. You got to have an offer. And this year I started, towards the end of last year, developing offers to tell people, this is what it usually costs, this is what I'm going to give it to you for, this is what value I'm going to give you. I never spoke like that before. I mean, if you see me, you think, is this the same Ashraf? Is this the spiritual teacher talking about offers and all that? Yeah, I have to become that to go into the world and preach my teaching. You get what I mean? You can't just, you got to develop yourself. This is an industry. You get what I mean? I can't just say, oh, I'm so nice, I help everybody, come and listen. You know what I mean? For nothing. People, when you charge as low as I charge, people look at you and they think, you must be no good. You get what I mean? People think that you have to pay a lot of money to get a lot of value. If you pay little value, little money, you get little value. That's what people think in the world. People won't come to you if you're underpriced. Strange, but it's true. So I had to learn these things. If I still had my own previous mentality, I wouldn't move towards my dreams and aspirations. The teacher in me, let's say I'm teachable. The teacher in me is teachable. I'm willing to learn. Every day, I am studying. Every day, I am studying how to do online digital, I want to be an edupreneur, how to do online digital teaching. Antonia is very proud of me because she saw this vision for me long before I saw it for me, and it requires learning. I mean, she told me, when you're sending me tracks, use this, it's easier. I said to her, you got to give me the training. She gave me 5-minute training. Now I know how to do that. So I'm not the same person. I'm willing to upgrade. I'm willing to upgrade. If you're not willing to upgrade, you're in the wrong place. If you're not willing to, see things differently, apply yourself differently, if you don't want to become something, if you don't want to become prosperous, if you don't want to become a wife who is in the role of wife healthy, or at least healthy, but here you can become a thriving wife. If you don't want to become a woman who's a wife who's thriving, you're in the wrong place, because this is what it's all about. I'm here to support you. Get yourself soulfully married. I'm here to support you become a thriving wife. A wife who has all her spousal preferences satisfied. That's what I'm here for with you. Now you might be like, there's no teachability in me, there's no student in me, I'm just unmarried, I'm just bad luck, I meet the wrong guys, I'm a magnet for narcissists, whatever it is. Yeah, that's where you've been. But with learning, growth and development, with your own interest in you, if you really want to become a satisfied spouse, if you really want to become a thriving spouse, if you really want to become that, like I want to become a thriving edupreneur, made it up, the word edupreneur, education entrepreneur. You get what I mean? I want to become that. Antonia wanted to become the motorist. She wanted to become the English speaker. She wanted to become the computer, user, a worker. She wanted to become that. So when I'm asking you, what do you want to become? You have to answer that question if you want to become something. If you don't answer that question, you can't become it. If you don't know what you're aiming for, if you don't know the finish line, you can't get to the finish line. This is a very important part of the teaching. Where is it that you want to be? What do you want to become? What do you want to live? This is the mistake that smart women make. This is the self-defeating thing. They focus more on a man, where's he, waiting for him to say, he wants to marry me. When he says he wants to marry you, then you use your head to figure out, is he the right one? Women focus more on a man and trying to get married and trying to get the right one, rather than being focused on what they want to become and what they want to be and become, what they want to live, what they want to experience. So if you can't answer the question, what do you want to become to me? That means you don't want to become it. You understand? If I say this year, can we at least focus on becoming that person who is attractive, that people look at you, high value people look at you and they are interested in you. Can we at least have that as a vision, that when you are walking around, you attract high value attention. High value men are interested in you. People who can add to your life, they're interested in you. People are interested in you. Is that something that you want? To have high value people, things and experiences find you attractive? Do you want to become the person who is attractive to high value? Now, for example, I want to have students from all around the world who find me attractive. I want to become this prosperous person. You get what I mean? Even if you don't get married this year, would it be okay if you became the person who is attractive to suitable suitors? That people start looking at you, or sending a message to you, would like to talk to you, or people showing interest in you, valuing you, you understand, admiring you. Is that okay if this year you have people admiring you and giving you attention, high quality, not low quality? Is that okay? Is that something you want? Are you okay with having people, things, and experiences being attracted to you? They want you. Money wants you. Are you okay if money wants you? Lots of money wants you. Are you okay with people who want to care for you come to your life? You know what I mean? Are you okay with having things that are valuable to you? Are you okay with attracting people, things, and experiences, money? People who make your life easy, people who make your life enjoyable. You understand that you're not looking for people and things, and you're not struggling and suffering in lack, in deprivation. Are you okay with having people come to you to add to your life, having money, having experiences that make your life easier, more enjoyable, more satisfying, more pleasing? Do you want to receive? Is it okay if you became receptive this year? Like open to receive. That, you no longer remain a self-depriving person. If you really want to remain a self-depriving person for a while longer, that is okay. It's okay. But you are in the wrong place. I am here to make progress this year with me and with you. Now, if you can't say, I want to become a more attractive to high-value people, things, and experiences person. I want to become more receptive. I want to have a prosperity consciousness. I want to be a person that is attracting money, attracting support. I want to be the person who has that which I value in my life coming to me. I want to have people giving me, receiving more from God, from myself, and from others, and from life. I want to have a more easier, enjoyable, satisfying experience of life this year. I want to have a higher quality of life. I want to show up as that person who is more satisfied this year without begging somebody to love me, without begging somebody to marry me, without begging somebody to give me, instead of getting the men who withhold from you and like, come on, give me, give me, give me, give me. Do you want to stay the same person in lack? If you want to, it's okay. Billions of people around the world will live and die like this, right? Not me. I'm progressing. This is what I'm going to be this year. Develop my prosperity consciousness. Do you have a picture? Do you know what you want? I'm going to become that person who is having more in my life, easily having more support for ease, joy, and enjoyment. I'm enjoying life more this year. I have people, things, and experiences, in my life that supports my personal satisfaction, that supports my spousal satisfaction. I'm having high quality people. Well, if you want to, then you can focus on it. You can begin to say, okay, Ashraf, I'm in. Because if you just hear and you're just listening to me and listening to me and listening to me, it's nice. You hear, you're listening to me. But being teachable means you knowing what you want and being able to support that transition from where you are and your current life to becoming this person and what your life is going to be like. Because when you become this personally satisfied or spousally satisfied woman, it's not the same you and it's not the same life. If you think you're going to be the same you and you're going to be in the same life, but you're just going to have more money, you are not thinking correctly. You are illiterate. You understand? You don't know about these matters. Because a lot of people are thinking, I just want to remain the same. I'm fixed in my mentality, rigid in my personality, static in my reality. People just want to remain the same and they please God, help, send me my man. This is ignorant people. You are here, you are enlightening yourself. That the student identity comes forward and it allows me to bridge, between where I am currently and where I want to go. I know where I'm going. I know where I am currently. You must know where you are and you must know where you want to go. The student in you must be aware of that. What's my current or past reality? What is my future self, my future life reality? See, so I'm saying to you, can you have as a vision for yourself being a more receptive person, having a prosperity consciousness, a life where there's people, things, and experiences that are supportive of you, your ease, your joy, your being pleased, your enjoyment. You are more satisfied and full. Can you have a vision of that for yourself? Can you at least begin to contemplate a vision that I want this year, I want to develop a prosperity consciousness. This year, I want to support experiencing being more satisfied in the world. This year, I want to become more receptive. This year, I want to become more attractive to high-quality people, things, and this year, I want to become the person that people admire and, come forward and want to be with me. You know what I mean? This year, I want only high-quality people in my life, associations and all that. This year, so who have I been? If I wasn't that, where have I been? So you've got to be able to say, look, where have I been? And where am I going? When I had druggies as friends and, my life was, that's my education. Why go to college when you can smoke the tree of knowledge, right? That was their highest wisdom. And I said, I'm going to university. And they said, but what are you going to university for? You can smoke the tree of knowledge, smoke the weed, you know what I mean? This is my friends. What was I being? What was I being? Destructive, limiting of myself, holding myself back. When I got to campus, guess who I was hanging around with? Those who were druggies and all that. And none of them actually passed. Is it any coincidence? I kept upgrading myself. Even now, I'm upgrading myself. I'm preparing for higher value people in my life than I have now. I'm upgrading. I'm constantly upgrading. I'm happy with the people I have, but I want to have higher quality people in my life. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad with that. It's God's good for me in this world and the world beyond. I'm constantly upgrading. And you can too. But you must know where you are and you must know where you want to be. So, think about it. Do you know where you are? You have an unreceptivity consciousness. You have a lack consciousness. You have a poverty consciousness. You have a poverty mentality. You are self-depriving. Do you recognize that? That's where you are without judgment and blame. Begging people to become right or be right, trying to change the world. And who do you want to become? The person who has the right people in your life. You don't have to beg them to change. You don't have to make them be different. They are exactly the way you want them to be. The situations, the work, the body, everything is exactly. You have perfectly suitable situations, everything that you require, whether it's a living space, whether it's people, whether it's a teacher, whatever, they're all exactly the way you require them to be. They're perfect for you. You see? So, this is what I'm saying. So, let's just complete what I was sharing with you in terms of sharing. Inspiring story, at the time of apartheid, being born here in Cape Town, you have ambition to excel in your career, take a train by yourself without a job, not much money, going to a distant place as a woman at that time, a woman of color. It goes to show, you see that ambition, that desire, how important that desire is. The desire is what it's all about, the belief. You see? That's why I always say, what is your level? Do you know what you want? So you knew what you wanted. You wanted to excel in your career. You knew Cape Town didn't have opportunities for you. You knew it was happening in the city of gold, Igoli, Johannesburg. You knew that your heart was there. You had a high level of desire. You had a high level of belief, that you can do this, even without any kind of, nobody promised you anything. You didn't have any confirmations. You didn't have any but you had desire and you had belief. You got onto the train and there you went. You found a place to stay. Your desire, your belief paid off. you attracted a place that took you. You're the first woman of color. This is what I'm trying to show people here, that something happens when we operate a certain way. Each one of us who have been successful in any area of our life. You know, Madonna. You know which Madonna? The Madonna of music, right? Music Madonna. She was a dancer, and she was in a little farm town. And she chose to get on a train, no money, go to New York City because that's where it was happening. And today she's one of the richest women in the entertainment industry, right? And she just had a dream and a desire, and she was a dancer. She ended up singing, and she became a singer, you know what I mean? And then she became a businesswoman, and today she does both. You know, this is what I'm trying to say, how the doors open for you. The how, because sometimes people ask the question like, how will it happen? How will it happen? You won't know how. Only after it happens, you'll know how. The how, we'll talk about the how whole. You know, because this is a question people ask me, like, how? Don't worry about the how. It's really about, are you clear about what you want to become, to be? Are you clear? Are you clear of, you know, your desire? Are you willing to take responsibility? Are you willing to do what it takes? What's your level of belief? Are you willing to play all out? Are you prepared to put your heart into it? And you've seen it in your lives. Each one of you here, I'm sure, if I listen to you, you'll tell me the same thing. Yes, and the characteristics are all there. The elements of success are all there for all of us. Now, the problem is, you didn't do this in the area of your relationship, of your marriage. You didn't follow this you didn't have the guidance. I'm not saying you're bad, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you just didn't know how to use the recipe in marriage. That's all. You just didn't know how to use the recipe in marriage. Do you get what I mean? Now you can realize, okay, so if success is possible for me in all these other areas of my life, and I've succeeded at not just ordinary levels, I've overcome major hurdles and, you know, challenges, and I was successful, then obviously I can do it in the area of relationship, because it's just another area of your life. It's the same principles, success principles. And so what I'm setting off with this from the beginning is, can at least, if you can't see yourself a thriving wife, because that's where we want to go. We want to go into, you create yourself to be a thriving wife. You get what I mean? Antonia wanted to be the good driver driving around. She knew that. She became that. She wanted to be this person who can communicate in English. She became that. You know, she knows the finish line. She wanted to know about computers, use computers, earn money using computers. She did that. You must have a finish line. So the finish line for Track Soulful Love is you being a spousally satisfied wife. In the role of wife, you're healthy. In the role of wife, you are thriving. That's the finish line. You've got to know what the finish line is. If you don't have that finish line for you, you won't know when you get there, or you won't get there. You've got to get there. You've got to know what you want, and you've got to desire it, and you've got to be intentional. So today we're going to speak about intention, and you've got to then energize it. And then when you do that, you start attracting to you people. Once you energize your desire, your heart's desire, they'll start showing up, opportunities start showing up. And thereafter, you practice selection. There's a way to select the right job, the right person, the right teacher, the right one. You select. So there's two parts of this. Attraction, which is receptivity. You start receiving options, opportunities. And then it's the selecting, the deciding, the choosing which one. That's what you'll have to do. You'll have to receive into your life. The people now, a lot of people will be like, what do you mean receive? I'm waiting, there's no men and all that. Today you're going to realize that is that's people who are unaware. That's part of the problem of being premaritally uninformed. That you don't know you're repelling. You're a magnet and you're repelling. You don't know you're a magnet and you're repelling. You're like waiting, you don't know you're repelling. And you're getting these guys who are interested in you for their own reasons, but they don't really value and appreciate you, and they don't want to contribute to you, and you're thinking from your head, is he right, is he right, is he right? This is you. You're going to see your role when you're uninformed, how you behave and what happens, how you show up in the world and what happens. And you're going to see that's how women have been and how you have been. Now, how can women be? Women can know what the finish line is. I'm going to create myself to be healthily and happily married as a wife who, in the role of wife, I'm alive. And I'm thriving. Because a lot of people are married, but in the role of wife, they're not alive. They're not healthy. They're not thriving. Some are sick in the role of wife. Some are dying. Some are just surviving in the role of wife. Others are sick in the role of wife. Some are dying in the role of wife. And some, as a wife, they are dead. They as a wife, the husband is not, there. They're just a person living with another person. They're dead. The wife in them is dead. You get what I mean? There's no aliveness in their role of wife. So, I'm making it very clear that you can, if you want to, hold a vision of yourself as being a healthy, alive, thriving wife. You can create yourself. That's the soulful love vision for you, that you as a wife, you are spousally satisfied. You have a man who is fulfilling of your spousal preferences. It's all about getting your spousal requirements met. Marriage is about one thing and one thing alone, spousal satisfaction, nothing else, as far as I'm concerned. It's about us meeting our spousal needs, desires, and preferences. And it's us who creates ourselves to be spousally satisfied. So this might be a shock to a lot of women who are prematurely illiterate or uneducated or uninformed. They're like, what? Yeah, you don't know you're a magnet who's repelling the right ones, the satisfying. And you don't know you're a magnet who's attracting wrong ones. You don't know that. You don't know you are doing that. And you don't know that what you can have, that you can focus on your future self as a spouse. You can focus on your future spousal self, your role as wife. You can focus on that. That's what I'm teaching you here. And you can focus on the quality of marriage. You can focus on that. Don't worry about the man. The man will come in to support you. God will send the man. You don't worry about that. You'll attract the man, the right one. You don't worry about that. You'll know it when you see him. You'll have a feeling this is the right one. As Antonio was explaining in our last month's live. If you haven't listened to the live session, I urge you to listen to that live session and, Antonia's sharing. And you could see how real it was when she was touched by her own story and the feelings that came up for her from who she was and where she is and how her life has changed. It's unimaginable. You get what I mean? So, are you with me? That the long-term ambition here is spousal satisfaction. You being a healthy wife. You are alive in the role of wife. You are thriving in the role of wife. You have a man who fulfills your spousal preferences. You are spousally satisfied. You as a person today have spousal requirements. And we want to ensure that if you want to have those spousal requirements fulfilled, that you have them fulfilled by marrying correctly for a lifetime of marital fulfillment. That's what the Attract Soulful Love program is all about. Are you in the right place? That's what you want, to own your spousal preferences, desires, support their fulfillment, attract a man who will serve you in spousal satisfaction. He'll be right for you. You don't have to try and control him and change him and all that. That's the finish line. And what we're saying is, whether you cross the finish line this year or not, the first part of it is to develop prosperity consciousness, to become a person who is interested in receiving, attracting, to get your magnetics right. Are you okay? Do you want to get your magnetics right? Stop pushing away the wrong people. Start attracting the right people, things, and experiences. Then get your magnetics right. Good, so you're in the right place. Prosperity consciousness, this is what we're talking about. Our ambition for this year, for the purpose of spousal satisfaction. Now I can tell you something. If you can receive your ideal spouse, it will not only benefit you in your spousal satisfaction, it will take your personal satisfaction to the next level, it will take your health to the next level, it will take your finances to the next level, it'll take your contribution to your next level. If you become receptive in one area of your life, other areas of your life improve. You attract to you the right spouse, and your spousal satisfaction, your health, your longevity, your well-being, your finances, your supportedness in life, everything changes. If you attract to you, or when you attract to you a fulfilling spouse, your health improves. Your wealth situation improves. Your work situation improves. Having spousal satisfaction, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, it's supportive. So, it's one area of your life. You get this one area of your life right, all other areas are improved. Our currency is spousal satisfaction. Do you understand what I'm selling here? That you can have your spousal desires met. As a woman, you can become a healthy wife in a thriving marriage, in a thriving role of wife, in a fulfilling marriage. And you can be with the person who fulfills you. The one person who is the most fulfilling to you, you can attract them. And you can select the right person for the really right, not from your head, let's try and figure out if it's okay, but from your heart. You can receive the right man for you as quick as possible, as easy as possible, without meeting the wrong people, without delaying, without creating drama, without marrying the wrong people, without making children with the wrong people, without the trauma, without the disappointment, without the dissatisfaction, without being with somebody years come and years go and then they tell you they don't want you anymore, without people just fooling with you, exciting you, and then tell you get lost, without rejection, without disappointment, without spousal unsatisfaction, without marital deprivation, without marital dissatisfaction. Who's in? Who thinks this is something that's really something that they would like to, get involved in, put their heart in? Like how you put your heart into your career or learning to drive a car or whatever else you did, and you went all out and you got the education and you practiced it and, you never gave up and you got there. Who's prepared to put all that in? All right? Good. Okay. So that is my first part of my introduction for the year. It's enough for the year. Attract Soulful Love session, January 2021, the 11th day of 2025 for the year. I'm going to talk a little bit about more about prosperity shortly, because I want that to be the focus here. That even if you say, look, let's just get receptive, because you've got to be receptive to attract into your life. Let's just get the magnetics right. So before I do that, I'm going to open the floor for sharing and questions. If anybody has any sharing or questions, you're very welcome to come forward now. Right? What we're talking about here is prosperity consciousness, attracting people, things, and experiences to you. When it comes to being a woman, do you want to have a ideally suitable man who fulfills you in terms of your spousal preferences, the man who is the way you want them to be, who pleases you, you know what it is to be pleased, and you have the satisfaction in your life as a woman, as a wife, you're alive in the role of wife, you're healthy, you're thriving, your psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical needs are met, desires are met, preferences are met. That person is serving you as a person, as a social being, financially, you feel better and whole. That as in a spouse you are cared for and supported, your preferences are met. When you show up in the world, people can see you're a satisfied woman, you know what I mean? As a woman, you're satisfied as a wife. And socially, you feel balanced. You can connect. You better off from the personal self. Social self is balanced. Your career is supported by this man. Financial support. You know what I mean? That your life is different in the future from where you are now. You know what I mean? And this can be for you. And if you know what the finish line is for you, that you can have the one who is suitable for you, and you can have them as soon as possible, and without wrong people who you end up trying to change and take them for counseling, and you feel personally distressed or dissatisfied, or socially you don't feel happy, you're telling people your problems, you are not having your spousal requirements met, socially you're not there, your health is not good because you got this trauma, your mental health is not good, so you don't have to have all that unsatisfaction and dissatisfaction. You can have that. And so when you say, yes, you stepped into an unrecognizable version of you. Your mother couldn't drive, she didn't teach you, but you taught yourself. And you became somebody who your mother is unimaginable to your mother. You became independent. And you took opportunities that you had, and you put yourself out there. And, you are where you are today because you put yourself ahead. You're living as an unrecognizable version to your mother or to the child that you were in an unimaginable experience of your life. You've applied it in this area. But when it comes to relationship, you didn't apply it there. But you can apply it now. You get what I mean? You can apply it now. Women have been in this premarital, uneducated. They have been not literate. They haven't been you got the education to drive. You got the education to take your flair and build it into a business, interior decorating. But you didn't get an education as a woman to help you become a wife. You get what I mean? You didn't become that. That's what we do here. We help you, support you, so that you can attract somebody. You can become aware. We help you become aware of yourself and as a woman and what's important to you, what your spousal preferences are. We show you to respect yourself as a woman and your spousal preferences, to focus on you and your future self, your future married self, and to energize that. And then when you attract people to you, to select correctly. That's what we show you here, so that you don't have to live a life delaying being with somebody or disappointing yourself with somebody. You can actually have, the right guy in the shortest amount of time. You can be married correctly. You can actually marry correctly for a lifetime of marital satisfaction. So a lot of us have been disadvantaged. Now, I want you to listen carefully to me, right? When you're growing up and you don't know what you can become or what you can have, it can hold you back for the rest of your life. Now, I want to ask you a question. Your mother didn't know how to drive, but you chose to drive. At some point, you became aware that you can drive or a woman can drive. How did you become aware that you can drive or a woman can drive? That you decided to drive? You see, what we want to become aware is sometimes when you're growing up, you don't have role models. You don't have role models to say that I'm going to get married and I'm going to get married to a man like this and this. You don't have role models. So you don't know what's ahead of you. Now, she never had role models in terms of women driving, but she saw men driving. And she said, I'm a human being. A man is a human being. A man can drive. I can drive. Now, she was inspired by seeing another human being drive. She wanted to drive. Now, but what if you never seen a man or woman happily married? Now, that's a problem. Wouldn't you agree? If you're not exposed, then that would be an issue if you're not exposed. If you never saw anybody driving, you can't just say, I want to drive. You get what I mean? So we can begin to see how some people, when it comes to prosperity consciousness, are at a disadvantage because they never saw people satisfied, either personally satisfied, they never saw their mothers personally satisfied or spousally satisfied, or they never saw men personally satisfied or spousally satisfied. So it doesn't exist in their reality. So they can live their whole life not knowing what they can want and not supporting what they can want. You get what I mean? Now, there are some people, when they're young, even when they're children, they already know they're going to marry a nice guy who's going to be have a lot of money and all that, because their parents have done that, and their parents have told them, when you grow up, you're going to marry a doctor. When you grow up, you're going to marry this. So from a young age, some people have not only seen it, but have been told it. You get what I mean? And so they desire it, and they create it. They feel like that's normal. Now imagine what a disadvantage it is. What a disadvantage it is to somebody who doesn't know what's possible and doesn't know it's possible for them. I mean, my father told me when I was little, what are you going to become? Now, I didn't know he and none of his family went to university or went to college or were not professional. They were only businessmen, whatever it is, right? But he asked me, what do you want to become when you grow up? In my mind, it was already put there that I'm going to become something. My father put it in there tactfully, strategically, put it in there. So I said, I might become when I was sick, I used to go to the doctor. I think I'll become a doctor. Then I used to go to the pharmacy. I saw the pharmacy was more like a shop there with toys. I said, no, I think I want to become a pharmacist. It's more fun. It's toys in the pharmacy. You know what I mean? So I started thinking, like, what am I going to become and that. So some of you, when you were growing up, you didn't know you can become a wife that is healthy in a wife role and thriving in a wife role and a satisfying wife. Not only did you not know that, what you saw was something completely different. So can you understand why women have had difficulty generally when it comes to marriage? You haven't seen it. Nobody expected it from you. You're the first generation to hear about this. You're the first generation to believe in this. But once you become aware of it and you believe in it, then you can want it and desire it and support it. Does this make sense? Okay, good. Now, there are some people, when they're 15 years old, they know they're going to become millionaires by 25. They know they're going to be billionaires by 35. Some people are growing up in homes where they already know, without knowing how, they know they're going to become billionaires. Because they grow up with families that they are billionaires. Do you understand? Their parents are billionaires, so they know they're going to be, at the very least, they know they're going to be a millionaire. I'm making the same point, that people sometimes, because of their environment, and they're privileged in that environment, they created it, of course, they anticipate, of course I'm going to be a professional, of course I'm going to be a billionaire or a millionaire, of course I'm going to have a sports car, of course I'm going to have money, of course I'm going to be traveling the world, of course I'm going to be happily married. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? For some of us, the level of belief is very low. The fact that you don't know, you can have that. And now that you know that's an option, the level of belief is very low. In the areas of your life that you have succeeded, you knew it was an option, whether it's driving a car as a first woman in the family, and you had a level of belief that you can do it. These are very important things. You understand? To know what you want and your level of belief. Now, I can tell you there are things in my life that I had a level of belief and I wanted it and it happened. Now, this is the how. This is the how. People try to figure out, how it's going to happen. Ashraf, you're telling me, I don't know where I'm going to find this man and I'm going to be happy. I don't know how. I don't know how. You don't have to know how. You just have to know what you want. And you've got to have a high level of belief. There was a day when during university holidays, I went back to my little town and the boys were there. They're saying, you know what? Tomorrow we're going to Swaziland. And I was like, I'm there. I don't have a passport, right? But I'm there. They're going to Swaziland. There's an opportunity for me to be in Swaziland with the boys. It's holiday. You know what I mean? I am going. But how are you going? You don't have a passport. I don't care. I'm going. You see, I knew an option existed, and I knew I was going to be there. My mind would have told me, but you don't have a passport, you can't go. Guess what? I went with somebody else's passport. I went. And I went in, went out. It happens. But sometimes people are like, I don't know what I can have. And then when they see other people having it, and they think, I don't know how it's going to happen. How? No. If you know what you want, and if your level of belief is high, that is the inspiration and the enthusiasm, is the energy. If you can have that intention, if you intend it for yourself, if you commit to that reality, the how is revealed to you later on. Now, this is the secrets I'm giving you of success. I've studied success. Everybody who had nothing who became successful used these principles. It's unimaginable how. I can tell you about Madonna, I can tell you about Michael Jackson, how his Thriller album became the #1 album in the world. He had a dream before he created the Thriller album. He said, I want to create an album that would be recognized 300 years into the future. He was inspired to be the greatest entertainer of all time. He wasn't at that time. He was a good entertainer. He said, and you won't believe it, right till the moment of the recording of that album, there were coincidences that occurred that allowed that album to produce that outcome. And until today, it is the largest selling album of all time. And every 10 years they reissue that album, and it's always the best-selling album. And it just started with one man's dream of being the best entertainer and actually belief that it can be possible and wanting it, desiring it, intending it, supporting it. Are you getting what I'm getting at here? That some of you don't know what's possible for you and you don't have a level of belief that you can have it. But these are you do that and you intend it, you support it, you receive it. Now, every one of us, whether it's Madonna, she thought she's going to be a big dancer, but it turned out to be singing. She didn't say, no, I want to be a dancer. Her future took her into singing. And her first song wasn't even sung, it was spoken. Holiday, celebrate. And, it's an amazing story of how her songs were given to her, and they were even told to her how to sing it. The guy wrote a song called Like a Virgin. Nobody wanted to touch it. Nobody wanted to touch it. He said he can sing it, but it's not going to be good. And here's a woman, her name is Madonna, right? Madonna. And she says, I'll sing your song. And he teaches her to sing that song exactly how he sings it. She doesn't even have to develop the art of singing. She just has to do what he tells her to do. It happens like that. So whether it's the world's famous people, whoever, they had a dream, and they had a desire, and they had belief, and they were prepared to support the change. They were prepared to do it. Whether it was Ashraf Murad, or, Maz, or whoever, or Antonia, they were prepared to get on that train and get going. They're prepared to get into that car and go for the driver's license and fail the first time, and fail the second time, and fail the third time, without shaming themselves and embarrassing themselves. They never stopped. Even me, 5 years of studying how to develop this thing, I don't say, after 5 years you haven't done much. You know what I mean? I keep going at it until I become the person who has that. You got to support the becoming. If you've got the dream, if you know what's possible for you, the finish line, you got the desire, you have that intention to turn that dream into a lived reality, and you have that commitment to do what it takes to become that person, you will definitely have what you want. I guarantee you. See, but that's it. What's required. If you're not prepared to, if you don't prepare to see, hey, you know what? I didn't know. Other people, they already know. When they grow up in families where their mothers chose men like that, they knew. Their mothers told them. Nobody told me. What I saw, I'm at a disadvantage. That's why Ashraf is telling us things here that is informing us that we didn't know before. You see how other people became successful. They're not just lucky. It wasn't God favored them. They were informed. They were educated. They participated in a way that allowed them to receive. Okay, there as well. You see, the willingness to support change, the willingness to let go of who you think you should be, how you conduct yourself, how you carry yourself, willingness to see things differently, willing to be different, instead of just continuing your persona. An opportunity, every day is an opportunity to show up differently. You can see how you operate. You can speak the truth to yourself about yourself. You can see how you want to be, how you could be. You could be more self-beneficial. You could be more interested in you and what you want. And thank you for sharing that. And I just want to add that, the teachability is when you're prepared to give up of the things that you love in the world. There was that one post that I did. Like, for example, if I enjoy certain things, I got to, it's not a negative sacrifice. I explained it in a voice note as well. But, if I have, like, friends that I like hanging out with, and I really love their company, but to move forward in life means me going to a class and attending something, and, I'm prepared to do it. I'm prepared to say, as much as I love being with these friends, and all that, this class is educational to me, and I'm learning something there that I can't learn with my friends. You know what I mean? So giving up things that we love, to be in spaces where people educate us, to associate with the right people. This is, we see sometimes people, a free class offered, and people don't come for it. What does it tell me? They're not teachable. What does it tell me? They want to perpetuate who they've been, who they are. What does it tell me? They don't value the opportunity to learn, grow, and develop. That's what it tells me. And then they expect me to give them a recording. That's like saying to God, I don't want to function in a way that benefits me. I want to be detrimental, but you must make sure that my life works out. It doesn't work like that, you see. So thank you so much for your sharing. All righty.